Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome back to the recap and breakdown for UFC 326. Max Holloway versus Charles Olivera for the B.M.F belt. This is the second outing that they have had. The first one went by a TKO victory for Max Holloway, and the second one we're about to get into. Let's go start off with the early prelims and end off with the main event, and just give a little bit of a breakdown and a recap on what happened throughout the evening. It was an actually really good card. There was a lot of people sleeping on this card. They really did not think it was going to go the way it did. There was a lot of sleeper fights on the prelims that ended up turning out quite well. And this is one of them, actually. Rodolfo Bellato taking on Luke Fernandez to start off the main card, or excuse me, to start off the prelim card. Rodolfo Bellato, I took all week. He was a massive underdog going into this fight, which I didn't really understand because he showed a lot of legit toughness when it came into his UFC fights. He had that tough fight with Jimmy Crute where he lost the first round so bad that they gave him a 10-8, and then he proceeded to beat the hell out of Jimmy Crute in that that right lead leg for the remainder of the bout. Ended up getting the draw. Moved on to Paul Craig, had a no contest due to a foul. It was an up kick from the ground. A lot of people said that was a falsified whatever. He said that he faked getting knocked out. Did look like he faked it, but I do believe it was an illegal up kick. Did look like it landed to the head. Ended up getting a decision loss against Navajo Sterling, which wasn't really that big of a loss, seeing as Navajo Sterling's quite a big prospect in terms of the light heavyweights. And then you have, what is he, light heavyweight? I didn't even, he should be at middleweight realistically. But, and then you have Luke Fernandez, where he gets stepped up into the UFC on short notice, I believe. He got into the UFC the October. I don't think his plan was to be fighting Bellato. I'm pretty sure he had another scheduled bout that didn't end up getting officially confirmed. But Rodolfo Bellato takes him on and beats him in the first round by knockout. Luke Fernandez just wasn't really ready for this whatsoever. It was just overstep, in my opinion, for competition. Rodolfo Bellato is a very dangerous striker. He takes punishment well. He comes back throughout fights, and he never gives up. And Luke Fernandez was a round one finisher who had only had, I believe, one decision in his entire career. He won that decision, and it looked really sloppy. And you get Rodolfo Bellato for your first matchup. It was easy money all day. The performance of the night for Rodolfo Bellato. And that moves us on to our next prelim of the evening, DR Nurgoze versus Rafael Tobias. And we took Rafael Tobias to win by submission, seeing as DR Nurgoze actually got submitted by Brenton Ribeiro and ended up getting submitted by Uron Satibaldiev in the first round. The Ezekiel choke looked way too easy, and I was way too skeptical of what DR was going to be able to do on the feet in order to get Rafael Tobias away from him and from taking him to the ground. Seems that Tobias was outsized in this matchup. It seems as though Rafael Tobias does not need to be at light heavyweight and in turn could move down to middleweight. But he really should have had an easier time with this fight. Nurgoze is a very good kickboxer. He has a little bit of a tick on his right eye where he just kind of spazzes out every 3 to 5 seconds, and he keeps pawing at it every single time. I honestly think you could have set that up and possibly set it up for a takedown with the jab as he goes for that eye. You jab to the other eye. He moves his hands both up because it's a little bit of a twitch, and then you just go for the double leg takedown, shove him against the cage, and run the pike. He didn't. He got a couple good double legs secured, but he never was able to take Nurgoze down, I don't believe. And I think if he would have had that position easily and very quickly submitted. I think he almost had it in the third round, but he ended up slipping off, if I'm not mistaken, and it ended up losing a decision victory against DR Nurgoze, who realistically should not be in the UFC. I don't really like him at light heavyweight. I think both these guys are cans, honestly, but DR Nurgoze realistically should only be fighting strikers. This guy would probably do a lot better in Glory Kickboxing than he would in the UFC, but whatever. Rafael Tobias loses. This is one of the fights that I wasn't really keen on picking on. I would have said skip it, but Rafael Tobias ends up losing. Whatever. We go 50% so far. We move on next on the prelims. We go down to 33% on the picks with Sumadarji beating Jesus Aguilar in a tough decision where Jesus Aguilar just couldn't even get started. The kid is just so small. I didn't even realize how massive of a frame disadvantage that Jesus was actually in. He was in such a bad position majority of the fight. He was reaching for a lot of his punches. He couldn't really get anything going. Some of the punches that landed were just wild winging shots that he had to throw from his hip because he can't really do anything otherwise. Sumadarji was landing the jab, landing the easy inside leg kick. Anytime Jesus Aguilar tried to close the distance, try and clasp those hands and try and take it to the ground, Sumadarji was right there and ready to rotate the position with his frame and ready to just stack on top and start letting off some hell hellfire from his guard. Now, Jesus Aguilar I like a lot. Realistically, I think he should have had a better chance in this fight, but I think it's just I was wrong with the frame. I think I was just wrong with how Jesus Aguilar usually deals with frame. Usually he does better against guys who are similar to his size. The only losses in his career have come from guys who are closer frame to him. But Rafael Estevam, 5'8", Tatsuo Taira, 5'7", Sumadarji, 5'8". He's losing to all the tall guys. He can't really deal with the reach. And Gabriel Valdez, 5'5" man, who he had a close fight with in his first fight ever. Ends up getting choked in the first round, but he did not get to that position by not trying himself and throwing some hell from stand. Now, Sumadarji I don't really like a whole lot. He should be out of the UFC. He's had a lot of bad losses. Mitch Raposo was a close fight where I honestly could have won either way. I thought Mitch Raposo could have won that fight. I thought he landed more damage, and I thought realistically that Sumadarji was already on the downfall anyway. You might as well toss him out while you're at it. But he beats Mitch Raposo, gets Kevin Borjas, who's just on a downfall it seems. And Jesus Aguilar now, he sets up a nice little win streak for him to be a favorite in his next fight to get fucking stomped on and knocked out or submitted. Sumadarji's just not good on the ground, and anyone that is a similar frame to him and takes him down, you'll see a hellfire from their guard, and they're going to fuck him up really quickly. Next on the prelims, he had Alberto Montes against Ricky Turcios. Now, you had a really close round with Ricky Turcios trying to step it up and trying to land some good punches on Alberto Montes, but he just couldn't really get started. You had Montes landing some nice shots on the inside lead leg, trying for some takedowns, couldn't really get anything that good, but Ricky Turcios does not go undeterred. Moves forward undeterred. I guess it would be, does not go forward deterred. He goes undeterred, regardless. I said that wrong. He goes in undeterred, and Ricky Turcios just tries to go in with some hellfire. He just tries to throw some wild shit, and in turn, he ends up getting taken down by Alberto Montes in the start of the second round. Ends up getting in the signature Darce choke of Alberto Montes, and it is so fucking tight that Ricky Turcios is turning purple before he even rolls over to finish the choke. And as he rolls over, Ricky Turcios, you can see it in his eyes, goes completely out. He's out sleeping cold, and Alberto Montes wins by technical submission inside the second round before the first minute is even up. And what a victory it was. Shows the absolute devastation of that Anaconda / Darce choke, and the fact that he is just one of the most dangerous submission artists in 145 right now. The featherweight division is getting stacked as it is, and we're only adding to it with guys like this. Oh, it seems as though I missed a fight. That's actually insane. I missed a fight on the prelims. This is honestly one that I could have fucking skipped, and I wouldn't really have cared for, but let's just go back real quick and talk about it for 2 seconds. Naim Yargel, Turden Barrel versus Cody Durden, and Cody Durden realistically should have had a closer fight. I thought he could have been able to pour it on Naim Yargel. Naim Yargel is one of those guys that gasses out as the fight progresses as long as you put on the pace, and Cody Durden was pretty aware of that. He started out the first round really strong. He started out with just heavy pressure, using a lot of just everything to try and just tag Turden Barrel, and it seemed as though he could have got that close first round, but it could have went the other way, and he just kind of needed to keep picking up the pace and keep moving forward inside that second round and just not stop, because if you do stop against Naim Yargel, he's just going to calm down, get his gas back, and start moving forward back towards you. Now, Cody Durden made the mistake of gassing himself out basically in the first round and a half of the fight. He didn't even look the same after the first 3 minutes. And he ends up getting beaten up in the lead leg, ends up getting tagged up in the face. Naim Yargel takes him down a couple times. Cody Durden's stuck getting beaten up on the ground in a position that he should have had a more advantageous suit for. Like, he literally is built for those positions. He's built to be a dog. And Cody Durden made a mistake. He made a massive underestimation of Naim Yargel Turden Barrel's power, and the fact that he has a large frame and he's so lengthy that you can't really get close without getting tagged up. And you have to have a little bit more than just a fucking jab to try and get your takedowns in. You have to kind of throw some combos, throw some leg kicks in there, try and get him thinking, fake the takedown. You got to try and get him thinking on all 3 levels, and instead you just go for the fucking shitty takedowns and get just mauled basically on the ground and on the feet. Naim Yargel Turden Barrel should never have been a favorite in this fight. He should have never won this fight, but you have Cody Durden, custom made, who's just taking the paid fucking cash and moving on with his life because it seems like he don't even want to be there. Speaking of people who don't even want to fucking be there, Dante Johnson versus Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage does not want to be in that cage anymore. I'm telling you right now, Cody Brundage does not want to fight in the UFC anymore. He would rather be at home cutting grass for his wife than he would be in that fucking octagon. Dante Johnson looked like shit. He couldn't do anything. Cody Brundage, very, very, very durable, and yet Dante Johnson, we took him as a KO lock of the week. We took him as a KO lock. We took Dante Johnson, to win as the lock of the week. But the prop that we took was KO. We might have given you the lock of the week, but minus 800 as a fucking lock of the week is nothing. A minus 180 prop? Sure. We took finish at a minus 350. We lost. How do you lose this? How does Dante Johnson not get Cody Brundage to the ground? This guy has given up in 3 fights. Given up. I'll show you them. You ready? Cam Roston. He just didn't want to fight anymore. That boy was getting beat up. He didn't want to fight anymore, okay? Bo Nickel. That motherfucker gave up against Bo Nickel. I'll tell you right now, that motherfucker gave up. Abdul Razak Al Hassan, he gave up against that motherfucker. He barely got hit in the back. I think he got hit once or twice in the back of the head. And Cody Brundage is at fault for that because he's moving his fucking head so much. You can't move your head literally like this as the guy's throwing a fucking left hook in the back of in the side of your head. You're literally letting him hit you in the back of the head. You're the one moving and causing it. Whatever, who gives a shit? Michael Olajaychik beat the fuck out of him as well. And yet Dante Johnson, a guy who arguably has more power than Cam Roston, arguably has more power than Michael Olajaychik, this guy needs to move down to 170. Because what the fuck? There is no way a guy... Listen, I understand... He's got no experience. He fights like dog shit. He fights with his hands down. Any normal person in the UFC at 185 is going to fuck Dante Johnson up. Dante Johnson, his next fight is going to be a pick'em. And the reason why he's going to be a pick'em is because of this fight here. He should not have gone to a decision with Cody Brundage. A split decision that arguably could have went to fucking Brundage. That should have never happened. That should have never even been a fucking talk in the story. And I can't even believe... We have to talk about this fight at all in length because of the fact that Dante Johnson looked like shit for 3 rounds. He looked like ass. All of the big shots were landed by Cody Brundage. All of them. All of the big reactions. Cody Brundage arguably could have won that fight. I'm glad that Dante Johnson won because the money line at minus 845. If I lost that as a lock of the week, I think I might as well fucking quit forever. Jesus Christ. Next on the prelims, you had the highlighted prelim of the evening. They were looking for a finish in this one, and they couldn't quite get it. Cody No Love Garbrandt takes on Zhao Long. And Jesus H. Christ, Cody Garbrandt is washed. He's washed. He looks terrible. I've never seen Cody Garbrandt look worse in a fight than I did on March 7th. I did not. I have never seen a worse performance by a previous champion in my life. And Cody No Love Garbrandt was that guy. Other than BJ Penn's last fight, bro. Cody Garbrandt, holy fuck. He did nothing the first 2 rounds. He got tagged up by Zhao. Needed a finish in the third. What happens in the third round? Dick kick. Okay. He needs a second. He takes it pretty bad. Okay, it's probably the second one. Okay. I think it was the second one. So I think no. He got hit earlier in the round. He said, "Yo, what the fuck?" Herb goes up to, "Hey, this is a warning. Okay, be in control of your weapons. Okay, fight. Okay, they touch gloves. Okay, we're hugging it out. Okay, they go and Zhao Long with the toes, which is so fucking bad. The toes. He goes toes to ball sack. Oh my god." Damn, boy. Toes the ball sack. Cody goes down. Cody starts throwing up and dry heaving. Oh, my God. He's vomiting on the canvas. Herb Dean has to go get a fucking bucket for the poor kid. Vomiting on the floor. Could have stopped the fight because of the vomiting, but Cody was ready to continue. All right, Cody gets up. He's like, "Hey, fuck you, you piece of shit. You want to go? Let's fucking go right now. Let's go. All right, let's go." And Zhao looks at him. He's like, "Yeah? You want some of me? Let's go." He looks like he's fucking emoting in fucking UFC 4. But he's fucking ready. He's like, "Come on. What do you got? What do you got?" And they run. Herb Dean takes his hand. All right, 1 point. 1 point. Cool. We move forward. They fucking run at each other. Cody's like, I fucking all pissed off. Starts punching him like crazy. They start clinching. Oh, what happens? Zhao Long knees him in the dick. Zhao Long kneed him in the dick a third time. He kneed him in the dick a third time. Herb took another point. So now Cody is not losing anymore. We are tied. We are reliant on the third round for Cody Garbrandt. Oh my God. I could not believe that. I could not believe my luck because I picked Garbrandt. I did. I picked Garbrandt. You might have thought I picked Zhao Long here. I picked Cody Garbrandt. There's no way I was going to pick Zhao Long, a road to UFC guy. They always find a way to lose. I said that. They always find a way to... There's always some way a road to UFC guy finds a way to lose. Technical submission in the third round with 10 seconds left. There's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Okay? Where there's a will, there's a fucking way. And I'll tell you what. There was a will for Cody Garbrandt to win last night, or excuse me, on Saturday night, and there was a fucking way, and he did it. He did it with 2-point deduction, winning the third round by landing pretty big shots nearing the end of the round, and they go on to win a unanimous decision, 28-27 or something like that, which is a dumb score. But Cody Garbrandt gets it. I mean, I couldn't believe it. On all three judges' scorecards, you couldn't even. That's not even a -3.5. That's fucking +3.5 for fucking Zhao Long, or excuse me, +3.5 for Cody Garbrandt, which is crazy. And the fact that Zhao Long did that, he might get kicked out of the UFC for that. I don't know. They wanted a KO in that fight. They did not get it, and they were not getting the finish that they wanted for that night. Now, next to start off the main card of the evening. Again, start off the main card. You're looking for a knockout. Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez versus Bruno Ferreira, and this is a rematch. This is a rematch from a couple years ago where Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez, I believe, was scheduled to face Brad Tavares, if I'm not mistaken. Where is it here? Where he lost. He lost to... Wait, no. Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez was scheduled... Yeah, there it is. He was scheduled to face Brad Tavares at UFC 283, okay? This is when Glover Teixeira took on Jamal Hill for the title, and Jamal Hill beat the fuck out of him, okay? Brad Tavares pulled out, and he had a replacement, Bruno Ferreira, who was a newcomer into the UFC. He got called on short notice out of the Contender Series. He wasn't meant to be fighting on that January card, but gets called up on short notice, says, hey, let's run it. All right, cool. And RoboCop Rodriguez, who's originally scheduled for fucking Brad Tavares, who doesn't really throw back and countershot all that well, gets Bruno Ferreira, who is so keen on backing up and countershotting that he got fucking chinned in the first round. And now this is a rematch, and usually guys who fight in a rematch, usually the first guy wins, okay? Usually the guy who wins the first fight wins again, because there's some little bit of mental games, a little bit of, I already know what you're going to do, that type of shit. Okay, I took RoboCop anyway. And the reason why I took RoboCop anyway is because RoboCop Rodriguez is devastating on the ground and on the feet. He is a high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu player. He has won many of tournaments. He has played in IBJJF. He has played in ADCC, if I'm not mistaken, for wrestling. He has played in a bunch of shit. And he has done a lot of work on his ground. Maybe not ADCC. What's the one... whatever, Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. Like, he's played a lot of... No, he did... I think he did do some wrestling comps. I can't remember if he did ADCC. It doesn't matter. Regardless, it doesn't really matter. It'd be interesting to see him in flow grappling as well. But he is so high level. He's got judo as well in his little arsenal. He's got some really nasty boxing. He's got some really good leg kicks. He's got fantastic jiu-jitsu on the ground. He's got really good grappling. He's got really good clinch work. He's good in all areas. He's one of the most devastating 185ers on the list right now, and he weighs in at 186 because he's so fucking jacked he can't make the fucking weight at 185. And now listen, he's got 75 inches of reach. He had 3 inches over Bruno Ferreira, and I was looking for the fact that, listen, Bruno might be thinking about the takedown. He might be thinking, oh, RoboCop's going to try and go in for a takedown when we get close to the cage because, you know, I've already knocked him out. No, RoboCop stormed the gates and fucking chinned him in the first round in less than 2 minutes. He got him quick. He hit him with a straight right, put Bruno Ferreira out cold. Cold on the floor, face first. Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez gets that knockout victory. He gets the revenge that he was looking for, and he's back in the win column. After devastating Jack Hermanson and Roman Kopylov. We're at a 3-point win streak, boys, and we're looking for that title. We're looking for that top 15. And I'll tell you what, Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez is flying towards it, and it's not even going to be that hard to get to now. Now, next on the main card, you had a sketchy fight in Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson. I took Michael Johnson all week, and if you notice, when I did make this video, the line for Michael Johnson was actually a favorite. Michael Johnson was sitting at a -135 favorite before the fight ever started, 2 days before the fight ever started. You had Drew Dober, the Crimson Chin. Well, this is an odd statistic, but every single person that he's ever fought of color, he has knocked them out devastatingly. So you have Michael Johnson, and a lot of people took that to realism. A lot of people bet a lot of money on Drew Dober. The line swelled, and then you had very unusual betting where Michael Johnson went from a +100 after a -135 to a +180. And then he moved to a +200, and then a +210, and then back down to a +175 before the fight started. That's a red flag. That means a lot of people knew something that we didn't know about Michael Johnson on Saturday night. That means there was something going on and something clear, because betting lines do not move like that. 2 sports books took off props for the night. DraftKings and FanDuel, and actually I think the Score. All 3 of them took the props off for the fight. You could only bet money line. You could no longer bet KO or under props. They took them all off. You had to pick who you thought was going to win. Why is that? They probably had a fucking clause to go out there and knock each other out inside the first fucking 3 rounds, and no one wanted to be able to bet it. I don't know what it is. I'm not the fucking person who works there, but I'll tell you what, I would have took under 1.5 rounds all fucking day, and we weren't having the ability to. Honestly, actually, I would have taken maybe over 1.5 rounds, honestly. I kind of seen these two guys going maybe into the 3rd round. Guys start getting tired, hands start dropping, you start getting chinned. Drew Dober lost that 1st round as well. Michael Johnson was looking good, and then you just get chinned anyway, and it never really mattered in the first place. And Michael Johnson's stiff on the ground, only losing to Josh Emmett and fucking, what's his name? Diego Ferreira by devastating knockout. And then you get that. Well, you know what? It's fine. I don't really care. I didn't like him anyway. Drew Dober wins. Fuck you guys. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Rob Font. This isn't even close. Raul Rosas Jr. just so aggressive on the feet, so devastating on the floor. Rob Font literally had no game plan. He had no preparation, and he lost all 3 rounds. There was nothing Rob Font could have done in the 6 months or the 4 months that he knew that he had this fight to prepare for this. There was no game plan. There was no setup. There was no let's work on our jiu-jitsu. Let's work on our takedown defense. There was none of that. You got to be bringing in like fucking 12 Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belts taking you down every single day in order to get through Raul Rosas Jr. And I'll bet money Rob Font just did his normal fucking camp that he does for every single fight. It's not enough for a guy like Raul Rosas Jr. It's not enough for a prospect who got into the UFC at 17. And it's not enough for a guy who's in Rob Font, who's 38 years of age and about to get out of the UFC because he's not useful anymore. Raul Rosas Jr. gets a fantastic win over a good vet. And now he moves towards that title at 135, and it's getting ever so closer as this kid gets ever so fucking older. I don't even know how he's only 21 years of age. It's insane. He's aging rapidly. But still, 21, man. The kid's so fucking young. He's got so much prosperous ahead of him. And Raul Rosas Jr. is going to be a devastating force at 135 once this kid gets in action at 28, 29 years of age. Kyle Brahalio versus Renier de Ridder. In the co-main event of the evening, and this was a pretty easy decision for me in picking Kyle Brahalio to beat Renier de Ridder. It just seemed as though Kyle Brahalio on the feet was just so much better than Renier de Ridder. There was no way that the boxing of Renier de Ridder was ever going to get close to Kyle Brahalio. There was no way you could ever see the clinch work getting close, because Renier de Ridder, although he is really good in the clinch, he did land some really nice knees in the clinch as well. He did use some of that clinch work with the elbows as well. There just wasn't really a point where I felt like Kyle Brahalio was ever going to be in trouble. There was never a point where I felt like there was so much overwhelming force that Renier de Ridder was just going to be able to walk forward and eventually take him down and submit him. There was no game plan I saw for Renier de Ridder to be able to actually take down Kyle Brahalio either. It just didn't exist. There was no way I saw Kyle Brahalio being able to sit on the ground. He did get taken down, I think, once or twice, but he didn't really sit there. He did still move. He did still land some shots from the ground as well, and he still kept moving and trying to keep putting the pressure on and tried to make the bigger moments of the fight. He tried to actually win the fight. Well, it seemed like Renier de Ridder just wanted to survive and get through, because it seemed like in the late second and into that 3rd round, a KO could have been coming at any moment for Kyle Brahalio. As Kyle Brahalio hurt him so many times, he just felt calm, kept moving forward slowly instead of pushing the issue, and just slowly wilted down and dismantled Renier de Ridder, RDR, the former 2-time and 2-weight champion in one. Kyle Brahalio, that's a massive statement to make, to beat a guy like Renier de Ridder, and it's only making your argument for the 185 top 5 even fucking greater. Next, the main event of the evening, the reason why we watched this card and the reason why I'm even talking about this video right now, and the only reason why I stayed up for the entire night, only to be devastated and only to be absolutely bummed the fuck out about the worst fight I've watched all fucking year, and that was Charles do Bronx Olivera versus Max Blessed Holloway. If you were a do Bronx fan, you probably were shitting your pants this whole fight, hoping that he was about to sub Max Holloway. Luckily, this turned into a pure jiu-jitsu defense fight instead of whatever the fuck it was supposed to be. This was supposed to be a banger. This was supposed to be a stand-up. This was supposed to be an absolute war, since these two guys didn't even really get to fight the last time. These two guys, Charles do Bronx had something happen to his shoulder, or he gave up, whatever it was, and ended up not being able to fight the full 3 rounds. It ended in the first round, I'm pretty sure, in the first 2 minutes. And then you have Max Holloway come out here for the second fight, feeling good, feeling fresh. The B.M.F. champion of the world, which, by the way, it's a dumbass belt, but it's fine. Charles do Bronx Olivera comes off a devastating KO loss to Ilya Topuria. Max Holloway comes into 155, looking better at lightweight than he ever did at featherweight. More jacked, more power. He's landed more KOs recently. He's just big. He's got a lot of potential in the weight class. And then you get fucking Bronx, who's got probably the best possible grappling game in the entire UFC, other than, I don't know, Robocop Rodriguez, maybe because of his frame. But Charles Bronx is literally the best grappler in the entire UFC, and I could have seen him submitting Max Holloway all week. I even talked about that. I said this fight was close. I said there's plenty of ways that Charles Bronx Olivera could have won, and honestly, plus 7.5, wherever the line was on fucking DraftKings, that was free. Plus 7.5 for Charles Bronx, but I took Max Holloway money line. I took Max Holloway money line for the parlays. I took Max Holloway money line for the predictions, for Tapology. I got screwed with Max Holloway. And the reason why we put so much investment into Max Holloway is because we're so blinded to how Charles Oliveira has performed against high-level champions and challengers. He has performed the best against anyone ever has against Arman Sarukian. Almost got him twice, in my opinion, won that fight. I don't think he lost that fight. And then he does well against who's the other guys? Beneil Dariush chins in the first round. Michael Chandler he mauls. Mateus Gamrot he submits in the second round, which I called. You had Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler back in the day. Not a prime Tony Ferguson, but Tony Ferguson who's trying to make his way back. A prime Kevin Lee who was on the way to the title. Like literally on the way to the title. A prime Kevin Lee. Prime. And he just doesn't care. Nobody cares. Nobody even thought of this. And yet Bronx, the people's champ, gets it done. I can't believe Max Holloway got mauled for 5 rounds. I can't believe he lost 50-45. And I can't believe I have to sit here and tell you that I'm sad to say that Max Holloway probably won't be able to get another title shot even in the B.M.F category again. This is probably the end. And this is probably the slant. Okay, if you're getting mauled on the ground by guys like Charles Oliveira, there's a lot worse coming up. There's a lot worse at 155 nowadays. The champ is a lot worse at 155 nowadays. There's a lot of red flags at 155, and there's a lot of questions that are going to be answered as Max Holloway keeps fucking moving forward and getting popped by these guys in jiu-jitsu. If you're getting taken down like that, controlled on the ground, bro, everybody just saw Max Holloway get controlled for 5 rounds. There's going to be a lot more grappling in camps with Max Holloway. There is no more standing and banging. We are going right to the ground, and we're going to work on a little bit of boxing just so you can get in and get out. That's all I got for you guys this week. It was a fantastic card. We got a decent one at least, and of course it's not in Canada, so at least it's fucking palatable. That's all I got for you guys this week. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. I will see you guys all for the next predictions and breakdowns, which will be for Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos, which is on the 14th of March 2026. I will see you guys all then, and for now I will see you guys all later. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.